Hey guys, it's Dani. Today I'm taking you along for an interesting repotting. Hopefully it's going to be a successful one. We are going to repot this Habenaria orchid, which looks scary, looks a little dead. It's not. It's actually a type of orchid that takes a dormancy. And it's also deciduous, if we can call it like that. I think not, because it actually loses everything, leaves, stems, everything every year. The only thing that remains alive is a corm that is inside the medium. And the best time to repot this orchid, just to be on theme with this year's Orchid Care for Beginners, is in its dormancy period. Now, in the past, I have been known to mess up a Habenaria or two in various ways. One of those ways being that I damaged the corm so badly during repotting that, I didn't lose the orchid, but I did lose a little bit of my soul in the process. I thought I killed the orchid. So I think I should take every opportunity that I get to repot a Habenaria alive, just so, we can learn a little bit from my experience. So first off, okay, I see this one doesn't want to come off. I will cut it. Usually, when Habenarias are completely dry like this, you can actually just pull on all of this dry bit and it usually comes off. But I'm not entirely sure if it's completely 100% dry, so I'm not going to pull too much. If it doesn't want to remove itself by itself, I'm not going to pull. I will, however, use this little dry stem to remove everything. And, oh no. What is going on here? Well, oh my goodness, I was about to say, well, this video is a bust, but it's not. Just so you understand a little bit my total panic, you didn't see it on my face. I don't know if I showed it, but I was panicking there for a second because I was looking for the corm and there was no corm to find. And usually when that happens, it means the corm just dries up and dies. I did find the roots. The roots actually die once a year. It's okay to find dead roots, absolutely. And I do have some dead roots here, which I'm not going to fuss about too much because there's no need. I don't want to disturb the corm. So I was panicking because usually when you don't find the corm, it's done. The orchid is done. If the corm is done, the entire orchid is done. Even, let's say, theoretically, you might have a good root or two. If there is no corm, the orchid is gone. So I was a little bit panicking, but I have found the corm. There he is. I don't think you can see it. I'll give you a close-up because it's important to recognize the corm. There we are. So I see that it's still alive because I actually see a part of it. One thing you should know is that the corm is a little fuzzy. You cannot see it because it is actually covered in soil. Do not try to remove all of the soil or anything because it will rip parts of the corm and you do not want that. That's how I damaged the previous corms. Honestly, a little bit of soil doesn't hurt anything because this orchid is actually a terrestrial orchid. We don't need to mess around with the medium or every little bit of the medium off the roots and the corm. It can definitely handle a more, I don't want to say suffocating situation, but I do want to say a higher humidity situation around its roots since it is a terrestrial. Now, you might wonder, aren't we going to water this orchid? Why didn't you water the soil before you started? Well, that's because Habenarias in their dormancy, if you water them, you can actually rot the corm. Since the orchid is absolutely completely dormant, it's not like in a break or anything, it's dormant, it does not need resources, water, nutrients, nothing of the sorts. It needs to stay as dry as possible. Do you want to know how I know that? It's because I killed Habenarias by watering them. But that's okay, every bad experience teaches me something. And from then, I know not to water the corm in its dormancy, and you should not water the corm either. So one thing that I will do is cut this dried stem. There's really nothing alive here anymore. And if there's a little bit of stem left, again, no problemo. Not going to pull on it and damage the corm. We can actually discard everything. As I was saying, even if I do still have little bits and pieces of medium or whatever here, I'm just gonna let it be. And maybe I should close the window. I think the construction noise is a little unbearable. Yes, it has started. Wherever I go, there is construction noise. All right, I hope this is better. So for these types of orchids, a terrestrial potting mix that is still loose like this is really good. If you have experience with aroids and things of the sorts, which can also be epiphytic, that's a good medium. This particular mixture I see has a lot of coconut husk, which can retain a lot of water, and it has also a lot of pumice, I think it is, for ventilation. Now this type of mixture is okay, it is just not very suited for my environment. I have a very hot, very dry environment, and this type of mixture, even if it's suitable, does not help me in my environment. So what I will go for is a full sphagnum moss potting medium, and of course topped with bark chips. If you decide to grow Habenarias, you could go for soil as well, or cocoa peat, but I would suggest that you mix it a little bit with something that will aerate it. Pumice is a good choice. Small lava rock, again, is a good choice. We'll see if I'm gonna use this or a bit of a bigger pot, and I'll tell you in a second why. To finish with the potting medium, think Paphiopedilum mixtures. I would not actually try this in semi-hydroponics, even if Paphiopedilums can grow in those instances. This is not as air resilient, let's say. It's in no way, shape, or form epiphytic or lithophytic or anything of the sorts. It has a corm. The corm needs to be inside the soil because in its growing period, it needs to stay very moist at all times. It does not enjoy being dry. In the dormancy, it can be dry, and I can leave this if I so desire in a piece of paper somewhere, and it's fine. But this is dormancy. In the active growth, things are quite the opposite. Right, so, oh, I said I'm gonna tell you about the pot. Now, each year, the previous year's corm will actually disappear. They will raisin up, they will dry up. And a new corm that grows during that year will take its place. If everything goes okay, the new corm will actually be bigger and bigger. That has been my experience with the Medusa in the past for as long as I had it. I had it for a few years before I killed it. But every year the corm was bigger, and actually this is quite a tiny corm. That's why I had issues finding it. The last corm that I remember on my Medusa was kind of like this. Am I in frame? Yeah. It was twice as big as this one. So I'm not entirely sure how big this one wants to grow in the following year, but I would like to give it some space. And we have no issue of, being too moist all the time. This orchid needs to be moist all the time. So I think I'm gonna go for a slightly taller pot. Again, one of the things with these orchids, to make your life easier, is to offer a rather tall pot. Not necessarily wide, like we would go with epiphytic orchids, but rather tall, because that corm sometimes grows downwards. And if it grows to this length, it needs space. You can already see that if it decides to put on a big corm and it sits kind of vertical like this, it's gonna grow outside kind of the pot. Sometimes it grows a little distorted if it touches the sides of the pot. What I want is for the corm to have a lot of space to grow to its little heart's desire. Right, so I'll get rid of everything. I'm not gonna reuse this medium. I don't know how old it is and it's not suitable, so I will discard everything except the pot, but I will change the pot. All right, so I will go for this pot. It's not really all that much bigger in diameter from the previous pot, but what bothered me with the other pot was that it was rather shallow. So I think this will be absolutely fine for my orchid. And the depth at which I'm going to put this corm is about halfway. I don't want it on the top, I don't want it on the bottom, because from this corm, a new stem will arise. Now the stem can actually grow pretty long, but the deeper it is, the more it has to grow, and the more chances you might actually have of rotting it. Naturally, I don't believe these orchids grow at very, very deep depths. What was that sentence? I don't think they're very buried. I think they still grow in the top layer, maybe of leaf litter and all of those things, but definitely the corm needs to be absolutely covered and at a adequate depth so it just doesn't dry out. And as you know, in pots, the first layer is the one that dries the fastest. Now we will mitigate this, as you will see, but I will aim to place it at the middle, because given its height as well, it's gonna be in the upper half, let's say, of the pot, and that's exactly where I want it. So as I was saying, we're going to use only sphagnum moss, and we will still make it fluffy. This is dry sphagnum moss that I started to work with last year, or the year before that, I don't remember. And the good thing about it is that even if you compress it, or try to, you cannot compress it. It bounces right back. So I'm not worried that I'm going to suffocate, because yes, as much as this corm does not like to get dry, it also does not like to get suffocated. No orchid does, no matter if it is terrestrial. Right. So I would say that, keep in mind it's fluffy, but I would say the sphagnum moss is about halfway up, maybe a little more. If I compress it a little, it's halfway. But yeah, it's a good depth at this point. So I will place this corm like so. I can see that the roots were going downwards, so I'm gonna place it with the roots downwards. Also, try to make a mental note, maybe I should have said this before, but try to make a mental note where the stem used to be, and I can see the little stump right here, because we wanna place the corm with the stem, or the former stem, upwards. This side is where the vegetative growth will grow from, and the lower side is where the roots will sprout from. So I will place it centered, not on the sides or anything, just centered, like so, with the former stem upwards, and I will cover it in sphagnum moss. Now, in its dormancy, this orchid obviously does not need light or anything. It doesn't need water, it doesn't need nutrients, and doesn't need light, and especially because it's not an epiphytic orchid, the roots do not need light either. So a completely opaque pot like this is absolutely perfect, and the corm should be absolutely buried. Right, we're almost done. So here's a little catch. At this point, I'm actually not going to top it off with bark. Eventually I will. But now I will not, and you want to know why? I want to be able to peek a little bit in the springtime or at the beginning of summer and just see when the new growth will start to appear, when the stem will start to appear. I will not attempt to water this orchid until I see the stem, but once I catch a little glimpse of the stem, I will water it a little bit on the sides. I don't want to pour water inside that little stem because it might start to leaf out when I see it, but I do want to make sure that the sphagnum moss starts to receive some water. Another thing I could do, maybe I'll do that, and if you're in this situation, maybe you should do what I'm about to tell you. I can also put water at the bottom of this pot and just sit the pot in it, because sphagnum moss is very, very wicking. So what it will do is just pull up all of that water and distribute it evenly throughout its mass. And I will not pour water directly into that little stem, which sometimes, depending how much it leaves out, it could be a little bit of a funnel. I will have to say I never actually rotted the new stems of Habenarias. Maybe they do have protection mechanisms that, I didn't see. But you know what? I don't have a clean record with Habenarias, so I don't want to shoot myself in the foot, as the saying says, when I can just put a little bit of water here, or even just water on the very edges of the pot. Right. Where is the... Did I throw away the tag? Tell me I did not. No, I'm a dum-dum. It was right here. If I would have lost it, I would have made a new one. Anyway, so for now, what I will do is just keep this orchid on one of my shelves. This orchid in its dormancy doesn't need cool downs or cold temperatures or anything of the sorts. It is a worm grower all year round, so I don't have to put it outside or anything. I'm just gonna put it back in its shelf where it was. Even if it doesn't need light, that's its place. I'm gonna keep it there, and I will just keep an eye on it. I don't think I'm gonna have anything sprouting anytime soon, but once, I would say middle March, April, May even, in that period, I will keep a closer eye on it and see if it starts to sprout. That should be the period in which I should see the little stem growing. And hopefully, if I do it right, we will have flowers in the autumn this year. I'll have to say, even though I had this orchid before, I've never seen it in bloom in front of me, only pictures on the internet, and I know it's going to be such a showstopper. I hope I do it right. I had a mini heart attack today when I couldn't find the corm, but everything is okay. It's just a tiny corm, which is okay. But I see it, it's plump, it has a good color, it's okay. And I think we did good. Now, once I do actually see that little stem sprouting, I will go ahead and put bark on top because this orchid will stay moist during the summertime and algae and cyanobacteria will accumulate. And that's not good. I'm sure it will damage the little stem. Now the moss will be completely dry, so there's no need for that bark, and I just want to see when the stem sprouts. But just so you know, at some point I will top it off. I will mulch it, if you will, and that actually will maintain humidity inside the pot more as well, because it acts like a mulch. Right, so for today, that is about it. Short and sweet. I hope you've enjoyed today's video. Stay tuned and let me know in a comment, do you have Habenarias? How is your luck going with them? They're some of my favorite orchids, but I will say they're not the easiest, I would say, to take care of for beginners. But that's why I'm making these videos. I hope you learned something from my experience, good and bad. And with that said, thank you again for watching, and I hope you have a great day. See you next time. Bye!